When I think about planning a gift for my future wife, the first thing that comes to mind isn't jewelry, flowers, or even a vacation. It's meaning, it's purpose. It's the idea that this gift should represent something much larger than the object itself. Because a real gift, one that endures beyond the moment of giving, isn't about what you hold in your hands. It's about what it makes you feel and what it reminds you of every time you see it. For me, the meaning behind the gift is everything. It's about intention. It's about saying, I see you. I value you. I thought about you long before you were even here. That's powerful. Because when you truly love someone, you don't just react to them. You anticipate them. You think about who they are, what drives them, and what kind of story you want to write together. Planning a gift in advance, even before meeting her, is my way of saying, I'm preparing space in my life for someone extraordinary. A meaningful gift carries emotion that can't be bought. It's built from the sum of your thoughts, your time, your creativity, and your willingness to make something that no one else could give her in the same way. That's what transforms a simple gesture into something timeless. When she looks at it years later, she won't just see the gift, she'll see the thought process behind it, the late nights of planning, the quiet excitement, the hope that one day she would exist in my world. Meaning is created through intention and context. You can give someone a diamond, but if it doesn't say anything about who they are or what they mean to you, it's just a shiny rock. But take a simple object, a letter, a photograph, a handmade keepsake, and if it captures a story, a memory, or a dream you both share, suddenly it's priceless. Because now, that object becomes a bridge between your past, present, and future. The true meaning behind a gift also comes from what it symbolizes. In this case, it represents love that's deliberate, not accidental. It shows preparation, not impulse. It's the difference between someone saying, I love you today, and someone saying, I've been loving the idea of you long before I met you. That kind of energy, thoughtful, patient, visionary, creates something deeper than romance. It creates legacy, and legacy matters. When you build something that lasts, whether it's a company, a dream, or a relationship, it starts with a clear sense of purpose. You don't build by chance, you build by design. So, in the same way I approach innovation or big ideas, I want to approach love with intention. I want this gift to be a reflection of values, curiosity, commitment, creativity, and courage. It should remind both of us that love isn't static. It's something you engineer, nurture, and evolve over time. I imagine giving her something that will still hold meaning decades later, something that reminds us of what we believed before everything began. Maybe it's a letter written years before we met, sealed and waiting for the right day. Maybe it's a small token of a shared vision, something that captures the idea that our relationship was never just about finding each other, but about creating something together. Whatever it is, it should be a physical manifestation of the invisible love, respect, admiration, and belief in the future. The meaning behind the gift, ultimately, is this: it's a promise that even before she arrived, she was thought of with sincerity and respect. A promise that I won't take her presence for granted, because even in her absence, I've already started building the foundation for something lasting. So when that day comes, and I finally give her this gift, it won't just be an object, it'll be a message. It'll say, I was waiting for you, I was preparing for you, and now that you're here, everything I imagined finally makes sense. Because the best gifts don't start the moment you give them. They start the moment you decide someone deserves something extraordinary, even before they know it themselves. And that's the kind of meaning that lasts forever. When I think about my future wife, I don't picture a face or a name. I think about energy. I think about the kind of person who would share a vision. Not just a relationship, but of a life built on purpose. I imagine someone curious about the world, someone who wants to grow, to explore, to push boundaries, not for fame or recognition, but because she genuinely believes that life is supposed to mean something. Understanding who she will be is not about trying to predict the details. It's about understanding the essence of the person who will make everything else make sense. It's a strange concept, isn't it? Planning something meaningful for someone you haven't met yet. But that's what makes it beautiful. Because it's not about her as she is today, it's about who she will become and who will become together. It's the understanding that love is not found, it's built piece by piece through time, respect, and shared vision. So I try to imagine her not as a static idea, but as a force, a person with her own dreams, her own path, her own light that I don't want to dim but rather amplify. Understanding her means understanding balance. She won't be someone who simply fits into my world. She'll challenge it. She'll push back when she believes there's a better way, and I'll need that. I'll need someone who questions, who brings perspective, who doesn't just admire ambition, but lives with it. I imagine her as someone who's strong enough to walk beside me, not behind me, and kind enough to remind me of the things that truly matter when everything else gets loud. I don't expect perfection. Perfection isn't real, and honestly, it's not interesting. What's real is authenticity. I hope she's honest, even when it's uncomfortable. I hope she's passionate, even when it makes her vulnerable. I hope she has the courage to be herself in a world that often rewards imitation. Because when I think about understanding who she will be, I think about learning to see her as a whole person, not just the version that's easy to love, but the one that's complicated, unpredictable, and real. This understanding also requires patience. It's easy to dream about love as something that just happens, but the truth is it's something that evolves. People change, life changes, and real connection depends on whether you can grow in the same direction without losing yourself. So, when I imagine her, I think about someone who's adaptable, someone who values progress over comfort, someone who believes that the best relationships are those where both people are constantly evolving into better versions of themselves. And to truly understand her, I'll need to listen, not just to her words, but to the silence in between. To how she sees the world, how she responds to challenge, how she treats people who can do nothing for her. Those are the moments that reveal who someone really is. Because love isn't built on grand gestures alone. It's built on 1,000 small acts of understanding every single day. I imagine her as someone who's curious about the universe, not just the stars or the science, but the human part of it, the emotions, the connections, the reasons behind why we care about what we do. Maybe she's someone who creates, maybe she leads, maybe she teaches. It doesn't matter what form it takes. What matters is that she's driven by something bigger than herself, because that's the kind of person I want to walk through life with. Someone who doesn't just dream, but acts. Someone who doesn't just believe, but builds. And maybe, in trying to understand who she will be, I'm really learning something about who I need to become. Because to meet her at that level, I have to keep growing. I have to become the kind of person who can inspire, support, and challenge her in return. Love isn't about finding someone who completes you. It's about finding someone who complements your evolution. So when I think about my future wife, I don't just see a partner. I see a future. I see a collaborator in the art of building something extraordinary out of ordinary days. I don't know her name yet, but I know her spirit. And when I finally meet her, I'll recognize her not by what she says or how she looks, but by the unmistakable feeling that everything I've been preparing for, everything I've been imagining, has finally found its place in the world. When I think about the kind of gift I want to give my future wife, I don't want it to be just something she can unwrap. I want it to be something that tells a story. Our story. Not just a story of where we are, but of how we got there and what we dream of building together. Because the most powerful gifts aren't just objects. They're narratives captured in form, reminders of moments that shaped us, and symbols of everything that matters most. Every story begins somewhere. Maybe mine starts with the idea of love that isn't based on chance, but on choice. A choice to care deeply, to create meaning, and to build something that lasts. So when I imagine this gift, I want it to represent that journey. A reminder that love isn't just an emotion, it's an ongoing project, one that you invest in every day. The story this gift tells should capture the evolution of that commitment from the moment it was just a thought to the moment it becomes a living reality. Maybe it's a collection of moments, notes, drawings, ideas, things I've written long before meeting her. Maybe it's a time capsule filled with fragments who I was before she arrived, showing her that I was already thinking about the life we could build together. I want her to open it and see that she was part of before she even knew it. That's the kind of depth I want this gift to carry. Not just surprise, but significance. A gift that tells a story is alive. It grows with time. Its meaning expands as the relationship does. Think about something like a handwritten letter. It's just ink on paper, but when that ink holds truth, vulnerability, and vision, it becomes something eternal. It's a moment captured, a story that can be revisited, reread, refelt. And every time she holds it, it should remind her that she's not just part of my life, she's part of my purpose. Stories are powerful because they connect us to emotion, to identity, to memory. They remind us of who we are and why we started. So if I'm going to create a gift that tells our story, it can't just be about romance. It has to be about humanity. It has to speak to courage, resilience, and the beauty of two people trying to make something extraordinary in a world that often settles for average. The story has to be bigger than us. It has to represent what we believe in, that love is worth the effort, that hope is worth the risk, and that connection is worth the patience it takes to build it. I want her to look at this gift years later and see not just what it is, but what it means, to see the story behind it, the moments of doubt, the hours of thought, the quiet conviction that one day she would understand what it stood for, because meaning doesn't come from luxury. It comes from truth. It comes from the willingness to put a piece of your soul into something, knowing that it might just outlast you. A story-driven gift has the power to remind us of where we've been and what we've become. It's something that doesn't fade when the moment ends. Instead, it gains value over time. Just like a good story, it deepens the more you return to it. Maybe years later, she'll show it to our children and tell them how it all began. Not as a fairy tale, but as a story about two people who decided to create something meaningful together. The beauty of a story is that it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. It's made of beginnings and challenges, of lessons and laughter, of all the imperfect pieces that make something genuine. And that's what I want the gift to be, a reflection of reality infused with hope. So when the time comes, and she finally holds that gift in her hands, I don't want her to just see the effort. I want her to feel the journey, to know that it wasn't just crafted for her, it was lived for her, because the best stories aren't written in words or wrapped in ribbons. They're built in the spaces between moments, in the quiet decision to love, to build, and to believe. And if this gift can tell even a fraction of that story, then it won't just represent our love. It will be our love, captured in something that time can never take away. When I think about planning a gift for my future wife, one thing I know for sure is that it won't be defined by how much it costs. It will be defined by the effort behind it. Because effort carries something money can't buy, authenticity, intention, and the irreplaceable touch of the human heart. Expense fades quickly. Effort endures. In a world where everything is becoming faster, easier, more automated, effort has become rare. It's easier to buy something impressive than to make something meaningful. But love isn't about efficiency, it's about dedication. It's about taking the time to create, to plan, to think deeply about how to express something that words alone can't capture. The value of a gift doesn't come from the price tag. It comes from the hours, the thought, the attention you pour into it. I want this gift to carry that sense of effort, to show her that I didn't just pick it out, I built it, I envisioned it, I refined it until it felt right. Because love, at its core, is an act of building. Brick by brick, moment by moment. You can't buy that kind of meaning. You have to make it. The best things in life are created, not purchased. And when you create something for someone, you give them a part of yourself. That's what makes it powerful. Effort is the quiet language of care. It says, I took the time to think about you. It says, you're worth my focus, my creativity, my energy. Anyone can buy something beautiful. Few will build something personal. That's what I want her to feel when she sees the gift. That behind it was time spent imagining her smile, her reaction, her story. That every detail carries intention, precision, and love. When I was younger, I used to believe that great gifts had to impress people. Now I think the opposite. They have to move people. And what moves us isn't extravagance, it's sincerity. When someone spends effort on you, when they make something from scratch, or plan something meaningful, it resonates at a deeper level. Because it's not just a gift, it's evidence of thought. It's proof that you were seen, considered, and valued. The truth is, effort has gravity. It pulls people closer because it communicates authenticity. You can't fake effort. You can fake style, luxury appearance, but not time, not patience, not genuine thought. That's what makes it so powerful in relationships. It's the one currency that never loses value. When I think about her opening that gift one day, I want her to feel the journey it took to get there. To know that every element, every word, every design choice, every layer was intentional. Because effort is how you turn an idea into emotion. It's how you transform a simple concept into something unforgettable. And that's what love deserves. Not convenience, but craftsmanship. Even in technology, we admire things that were built with care. You can feel it when something was designed with purpose. It's the same with people in relationships. Effort creates connection. It builds trust. It says, "You matter enough for me to spend my most valuable resource, time, on you." That's the kind of energy I want to put into this gift. The effort over expense mindset also reflects something deeper, sustainability. Not in the environmental sense, though that matters, but in the emotional sense. What we build through effort lasts longer because it's rooted in meaning, not material. A diamond can sparkle, but a memory shines brighter. A luxury fades, and experience deepens. That's why I want the gift to be something that carries the story of time and heart, not just the illusion of value. There's something profoundly human about doing something difficult for someone else, about staying up late to finish it, about getting it wrong, fixing it, and trying again until it feels right. That process, that journey, is what makes effort beautiful. It mirrors what love itself requires: consistency, patience, persistence. So when the moment comes, and she finally sees what I've made, I don't want her to be impressed. I want her to be moved. I want her to feel that behind this gift is not wealth, but work, not extravagance, but essence. Because at the end of the day, the most meaningful gifts aren't bought with money. They're built with love. And the measure of love has never been in how much you spend. It's in how much of yourself you're willing to give. When I imagine giving this gift to my future wife, one of the most important parts of it all is the element of surprise. Not the kind of surprise that's about shock or spectacle, but the kind that feels like magic, the kind that makes a person stop, breathe, and realize that something extraordinary just happened in the most unexpected way. Because the power of a surprise lies in timing, emotion, and meaning coming together in a single moment that feels larger than life. Surprise is what turns an ordinary event into a memory that lives forever. It's not about catching someone off guard. It's about creating a moment where emotion outweighs logic. It's about building anticipation, about the quiet buildup of curiosity and excitement until that 1 second when everything aligns and suddenly they understand exactly what you meant all along. That's what I want this gift to do. I don't just want her to see it. I want her to feel it. I think about how that moment will unfold. Maybe she has no idea it's coming. Maybe she believes it's just another ordinary day. And then, in a way that feels effortless, it happens. The reveal, the story, the emotion, all woven together. It's not about making her cry or gasp. It's about giving her a moment that will never repeat itself. A moment that belongs only to us. The art of surprise isn't in grand gestures. It's in precision. It's about understanding what would genuinely move her. Because surprise without understanding is just randomness. But when you know someone deeply, you can design a moment that hits the exact emotional frequency that will resonate. Maybe it's a place that holds meaning, or a sound, or a memory hidden inside the gift itself. Maybe it's something that connects the past, the present, and the future in one seamless instant. I want that moment to feel natural, not staged. Authenticity is everything. The best surprises aren't rehearsed, they're discovered. They unfold like life does, unscripted but perfectly timed. And when that happens, it feels almost spiritual. It's like the universe pauses for a second to remind you that some moments are to happen exactly when and how they do. There's also something deeply human about the element of surprise. It reawakens wonder. We spend so much of our lives planning, analyzing, predicting outcomes. But when you're surprised, truly surprised, you reconnect with something pure, something childlike. You're reminded that life is still capable of awe. That's what I want her to feel. Not the surprise of luxury or scale, but the surprise of love expressed in a way she didn't see coming, yet somehow feels like it's always meant for her. Designing a surprise like that takes more than creativity. It takes empathy. You have to know how someone experiences emotion, what speaks to them, what moments they'll carry forever. It's about crafting an experience that's personalized, not just polished. I want her to look back and think, he knew exactly what would touch my heart. That's the kind of precision that comes not from planning, but from understanding. And when it finally happens, I don't want to say anything right away. I want the silence to carry the weight of everything the moment means, because sometimes words aren't necessary. Sometimes the best way to express love is through presence, through an act that speaks louder than any speech could. That instant, when surprise becomes emotion and emotion becomes understanding, that's where the connection deepens. That's when it becomes unforgettable. Even after the moment passes, I want it to echo. I want her to remember how it felt every time she thinks about it. That's what a true surprise does. It doesn't fade. It lingers. It becomes a story you tell not because it was extravagant, but because it was real. So when that day comes, and she opens that gift, or maybe discovers it without even realizing it was planned, I want her to feel that spark of wonder, that realization that this wasn't about impressing her, it was about knowing her. Because the best surprises don't just reveal a gift, they reveal love in its purest form. And in that single, perfect moment, I want her to understand that what she's feeling isn't just surprise, it's the quiet certainty that she is, and always will be, deeply seen. When I think about this gift, beyond the planning, beyond the design, beyond the story it carries, what truly matters is the message behind it all. Because every meaningful gesture, no matter how beautiful or elaborate, must stand for something deeper. The gift isn't the destination, it's the medium, it's a language. And what I want it to say is simple but profound, you were worth preparing for. That's the message I want her to feel in her heart the moment she realizes what this gift represents. It's not about perfection or performance. It's about the idea that even before we met, she was already a part of something I was building. That the thought of her inspired creation, discipline, and purpose long before she ever stepped into my life, that's what makes it powerful. Because it's not about what I give her, it's about why I give it. Every great story, every great invention, every great love starts with belief. You have to believe in what you can't yet see. You have to hold faith in the unseen potential of something or someone and act as if it's already real. That's what this gift represents. It's not just a symbol of love, but a belief. Belief that she exists somewhere out there. Belief that when we finally meet, every bit of thought and energy that went into preparing for her will make sense. The message behind it is also a reflection of what love really is. It's not static, it's dynamic. It's not about possessing someone, it's about growing with them. I want this gift to remind her that love is a living system. It evolves, it adapts, it improves with time and effort. Just like anything meaningful in life, it requires engineering, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. It's something we design together, piece by piece, moment by moment. It's easy to get lost in the noise of the world, where gestures are often transactional and love can feel fleeting. But real love, intentional love, is different. It's built on understanding, patience, and purpose. The message I want to convey through this gift is that love isn't something you stumble into, it's something you commit to. It's something you create consciously, day after day. That's what gives it weight. That's what gives it meaning. I also want her to see that the gift isn't just about her. It's about us. About two people choosing to be better because they've found something worth building around. It's about shared vision. About looking toward the same horizon, not out of dependency, but out of alignment. The message behind it all is unity, not the kind that merges two people into one, but the kind that strengthens both individuals through shared purpose. When she looks at this gift, I want her to understand that it carries a silent promise, a promise that I will never stop showing up, that I will continue to create, to evolve, to give my best even when it's hard. Because love doesn't survive on emotion alone, it thrives on intention. And this gift, in its truest form, is my way of saying, I will always choose you deliberately. The message behind it also reaches beyond romance. It's a reflection of what I believe about life itself. That the things we build with care outlast us. That legacy isn't about wealth or recognition, but about impact, how deeply we've touched another person's life. And if this gift can carry even a fraction of that truth, then it's doing exactly what it's meant to do. I imagine her years from now, maybe looking at it again after time has passed, and feeling that same spark of recognition. Because meaning doesn't decay, it stays embedded in what was created with purpose. Every detail, every choice, every layer, it will all whisper the same message that love, at its highest form, is a deliberate act of creation. So in the end, the gift isn't just an expression of love, it's a decoration of intention. It says, I thought about the future, and you were in it. It says, I built something that carries the best parts of who I am, so that you'll always have a piece of me even when words fall short. And if there's one thing I hope she feels when she finally understands what this gift means, it's that she was never an afterthought. She was always the plan.